Hello, and welcome back to part 11. This one here is a little bit different, but it's close to the same topics that we've been on. It's called The Former Contract Writer. This, boys and girls of the world, is exactly why you don't bite the hand which feeds you. This is why you don't try to backstab people who have the ability to bring truth to the eyes of those that you control. See, I am sitting here right now at this very moment at the top of an abandoned warehouse with my laptop about a few years ago. It's a computer which cannot be traced or blocked because it has never been registered. I never added virus protection. I never downloaded updates. It has never been connected to the internet and will not be until I finished this. Why? Because I'm no fool. I know the best way to keep a secret is by terminating the only ones who know that secret. It's common sense. Unfortunately, I also know after I send this, nothing important will come out of it. There are too many ways to cover the tracks in today's age. No more than 48 hours after I send this, there will be an entirely new history written about me. You will see where I was in and out of mental homes my entire lives. You will know of my madness, my conspiracy theories. I will be shown as your enemy, and there will be nothing you can do about it, or I. People believe what their leaders tell them, and yes, we all have leaders. Enough of that, though. If certain people don't understand or believe what I'm about to say, they never will. It means they are already too blinded to control. They will be sniped, and they have been snipped and sheared too many times, and now believe it's simply how things are, and for those like them, I feel sorry for them. Okay, maybe not. I probably shouldn't start such a short relationship with a lie, so I will not. I don't feel sorry for them all. They had many chances in life to see the truth and decided to keep their eyes closed by their own free will. They didn't want the walls of their perfect world to come crumbling down around them, and they turned away from the truth instead. It's their fault, not mine. Now down to business. One of two things is about to happen. One, I will get my head blown off before I can finish this and send it out to the world, which means what I'm about to describe will indeed happen, because they stopped my message from being sent. Two, I will send this, and everything I describe will not happen, and unfortunately I will get my head blown off. But this is the cover-up you need to know about. Not more than 4 days ago, I just finished writing a complete contract on the next phase. The funds did not show up in my account yesterday, though. It always takes 48 hours, every time. After I wrote and submitted a contract to have the Muslims become hated and feared, I received my payment 2 days later. After the one explaining how to get information chips into all the phones, computers, and driver's license, I received payment 2 days later. After I submitted a contract explaining how to get Obama elected, I received my payment 2 days later. The same with the last election, including the leaks and the Russian inputs and the downfall of the media and Clinton and the rise of Trump. Some of my best work of my life, I must admit. The point is, every time I submitted the planning contract they hired me to write, I received my payment within 48 hours. I didn't receive it yesterday, though, and I didn't receive it today. So I am faced with the ugly truth. They obviously no longer believe in my talents, and they don't need me no more. With that pill being swallowed, I know now what I must do, because I will be damned if I'm going to let them take credit for their ingenious plan of mine. If I work to come up with a perfect contract, I intend to see it happen. That is the excitement of it for me, to see the birth of my child come to life from the very eyes, to grow and spread and become what it's meant to become. This one was better than any of the other ones too, but I guess it doesn't matter now. What matters is me making sure it doesn't happen. Here's how the plan is going to work. They wanted me to figure out a plan to get microchips into the bodies of every American out there. The only problem was overcoming that mark of the beast passage in the books our ancestors wrote all those years ago. To this day, it is still some of the best work of all time when it comes to controlling the masses. But like every great piece of work, it has now outlived its usefulness. Too many people have debated the meaning inside of those books. Not one truly believes everything the book says anymore, and so no more fear is coming from it. Today's people have found a way to get around just about every command in those books in one way or the other, so it is time for a new way of them being controlled. My idea? Kidnapping children. I know, it sounds too simple, doesn't it? But that there is the genius part of it. It is so simple, no one will be able to not believe it. See, there is actually only one way to control people, and that is through fear. Fear is the easiest to implement new thoughts into their minds. You place a fear of a product about to go out of stock forever, and the sales go through the roof. Remember the Hostess Twinkie panic? And no one was ever going to have a Twinkie ever again? Yes, you can thank one of my contracts for that. But seriously, if you can force people to fear something and prove it is out of their control, then they will be begging for a solution. They will hold protests and demonstrations and demand the government do something. So what is the best way for the government to force people to do what they want the people to do? Fool the people into believing they are the ones forcing the government to do it. Like now, for instance, the owners of the government currently want to place satellite-linked microchips in all the people so they will know where they are at all times. They will know what they are doing, what they are buying, and where they are worshiping. They will know all of their habits and beliefs, and the government computers will keep it all monitored. This will make it much easier to control them. They also will not have to rely on people like me. The computers will do it all. The plans, the contracts, and the beginning actions to see them carried out. That is where fear comes in. My plan, as you know, is simple. It would start out with a series of kidnappings. Children would simply come up missing from each and every place in America. From the big cities to the smallest towns in places like Wyoming and New Mexico, children were going to start coming up missing. Then after the first phase of fear was set in, the media was going to get wind of new terrorist organizations training these children to fight and hate all Americans, basically using their own children against them. That will set up the next level of fear. Once the news was out and the fear was in control, the people would demand the government do something about fighting their children. The government would then initiate a global strike force. I'm not sure who the enemy was going to be, though that's not my part of it. But once the enemy is found and eradicated and 1,000 children are returned home, then the government would be the people's hero again. Especially good old Trump, who will probably send out many tweets about his anger but his happiness. And this will probably in turn get the puppet reelected. It would have been one of the best winning situations I ever wrote. The next phase of the plan was even simpler. It will turn out to be one of those kids. It will turn out that one of those kids that were kidnapped just so happened to have just got a microchip in them. The parents of this child will go on national news talking about how happy they are to have their child back. They will explain how they knew about this new technology and decided to place it inside of their child so they could always be found. It works just like the same as the microchip placed in phones so that police can rescue hapless victims anywhere in the country. At the sound of this, about 25 to 30% of the parents will flock to the local clinics to have this done, and they will pay thousands of dollars to do it too. More money for the government. In the next phase, the insurance agency will begin adding it to their policies, and more parents will have their children get the microchip. What about the stragglers, you might ask? The wishy-washy parents who aren't quite sure, or the religious fanatics? Well, I have that covered as well. About 5 years later, a child was found in the woods because of this chip. Adding a few more well-placed stories and keep the media involved, the people will start seeing they need this to be done to keep their children safe. The government is offering them a way to keep them safe, and being the sheep that they are, they will have no problem doing it. The problem will be solved. Within 10 to 20 years, 90% of the Americans will have this chip inside of them, and it'll probably even be going globally by then. Unfortunately, though, something just triggered my sensors down at the bottom of the warehouse, so I can't explain further. I am out of time. I'm going to turn on my Wi-Fi, send this out, and then I'm going to try my best to escape while I can. Though believe me when I tell you this, you can never truly escape the government. Ever. Good luck. And that was the end of it. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you tomorrow for part 12. Good night.